Good afternoon. Let's see who's out here. Let's see who's out here this afternoon. Please, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Hey, so right quick, a couple little things have been coming up online, Facebook or what have you. And somebody like myself might say, hey, this don't seem right, or I'm not with this. And then I see that there's like pushback. So this is no big deal. This ain't no, beef situation. It ain't that serious. But just what is happening now on my page with, I posted a story that struck me as odd about a family that is used as surrogate. Whatever, long story short, it's a son, who's marrying or married to another guy outside of the family. And they trying to have a kid, but they can't have a kid. So, like, his sister donated an egg, which then got inseminated and is going to, and is in the mother to then be brought to term. So the mother's acting as the surrogate birth thing, but it's the sister's egg. And I just said, that's too much for me, right? Now, it's not my bag. I don't really care about the gay thing or whatever. People live their lives. People do whatever they want to do. It's okay. But is it me, or is that a little bit extreme? It's a little bit. They're doing a lot right there. So by the time you have to get your your sister's egg, that would have been a deal breaker for me right there. Okay, but we're gonna get the sister's egg, and then it's gonna be brought to term inside the mother. That would have been another thing. I mean, once again, people talking about it like, is it incest or whatever. That's for you to judge. For me, it's close enough to incest that I don't like it. It makes me uncomfortable. And if it doesn't do that for you, great. But it does that for me. It's too much for me. Particularly when, people are talking about all the difficulties it takes to be pregnant and the costs and da-da-da-da. I get all that. But particularly when there's still other people on the planet. You could have perhaps got an egg from somebody else. People brought up the cost, what have you. To me, it's just too much. It's too close. All that is too closely related. No pun intended. All right. Secondly, off that is, let's double down on the fact that people can do whatever they want to do and do in every extreme. Some people just, let's say, beat their children. Now, I'm not with that, but people do it. Some people beat their children within the realm of reason, like, spanking, like, da-da-da. Some people take it too far, and then it becomes abuse, like they really beating their kids, right? Okay. Some people swear at or around their kids or to their kids. Some people refer to their wife as, whatever, their property or whatever. All of these things I'm not with, but there are 100,000 different decisions of how people choose to interact with each other, with their own family, with their own kids, with their own parents, and all that type of stuff. All I'm saying is, I ain't with it. It's not for me. And at some point, is that okay? Because now people make it like there's something wrong with you for just saying, I don't rock with that. I'm not prejudiced. I'm not, whatever. The whole thing that people have brought up in this one is bias. And one of the guys who's been, commenting on this thread, it was a super smart guy, data guy, and all that. And he has a hashtag that he rocks with and says, your bias is showing. Okay. So every time there's something that you don't agree with, is that like a bias on my part? Like, I don't know. It's to me, I think this era of political correctness is getting to be too much, because then I would say that for somebody to say that my belief now, is a bias, well then, so I'm only unbiased when I agree with you. So if I agree to the way you feel about it, then I'm not biased. See, that's weird, right? And I don't think that people even really take it that way. So let's take two people, age-old debate, abortion. So some people say abortion is wrong, and they go hard on that, and they can make a strong case on that. Other people say abortion is necessary, and they support it, and they got strong evidence on that. So now, if I'm pro-abortion and you're anti-abortion, are you biased? And if I'm anti-abortion and you're pro-abortion, are you biased? This is what I'm saying. In this new age thing, like, I'll give you another one. The term homophobia. I hate that term. Homophobia. The fear of. I think that what people need to do is more so come up with a word, because I've been called homophobic, and I'm not homophobic. Now, I don't agree with homosexuality, and that's a whole can of worms to open it up. When I say I don't agree with it, what do I mean? I mean, if I agreed with it, my fault, yo, janky reception. But yeah, on the homophobic tip, where when I say I don't agree with quote unquote homosexuality, meaning if I agreed with it, then it would be a lifestyle that I would engage in, right? But I don't engage in it because it's not for me, because I don't agree with it, right? I don't agree with heroin use. Therefore, I don't use heroin. It's not for me, right? And I think that at some point now, somebody, because of that, prejudice does exist, and all these other things do exist, and hatred and da-da-da-da-da-da. But there has to be a place for the people who are not that, who just, I don't agree with it. Can I not agree with something? Or I'm like now duty bound to go with this whole, whatever the theory is of whatever is, soup du jour. Whatever is going on today, now you got to be with it. So for me, artificial insemination, surrogate, parents and all that is, we get it. There's a bunch of people who can't have children for a variety of different reasons. It's da-da-da-da-da-da. All those things may be necessary, certainly within anybody's rights. But one might admit that if you're a guy, and despite the fact of the gay marriage to another guy, that to me is not the big deal here. The big deal here is that, want to have a child, my sister provides the egg, and then the egg is placed inside my mother. I don't know what y'all rock with. For me, that's going to be a no. A hard no. Okay? So, I don't know, what everybody else is on, but for me, that's where it's problematic. All right? I'll give you another good one. Another thing I posted. This one is not as controversial because, this goes with what other people believe. So right now, did you know that in Massachusetts, people might think, oh, it's just like some Alabama, some Mississippi's, and, that type of thing. But no, right here in Massachusetts, there are 14-year-old girls who have been married off to grown men. In the case that they put on in the paper, was a 15-year-old girl who was married to a 25-year-old man. Okay? You need, a parent or whatever to sign off on it. And, whatever parent signs off on that, But whatever, there's different reasons, could be cultural, could be religious. That's what I thought. It was going to be a lot of cultural stuff or a lot of religious stuff, what have you. But just on the books in Massachusetts is that you can be 14 or 15 and get married to 24, 25, whatever, an adult person. Now, can we all agree that that's crazy or not? Can we agree that that's improper? Right? Because now we're dealing with the R. Kelly Aaliyah situation. But in this state, you wouldn't even have to falsify your age. You can actually get married at 15 if you have the parents' consent. Now that should be something that we could all say is crazy. And this is what I mean. Now, somebody out there who looks at that position and says, yeah, that's okay, that person might tell me, oh, Jamal, you're being biased right now. How can you, say that this is not right for true love or whatever. So there's always going to be somebody on the other side that's going to make a case for it. And I'm not making a case to say these people should be stoned, executed, beheaded, whatever, in the city square. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's not for me. I don't think it's right. I don't agree with it. And that's about all the power that I got. Okay? The only other thing that I can do is discuss it, analyze it, and dissect it with what I think are people who are logical and capable of reason and all this. Because this is not castigating anybody on anything. So having to use artificial insemination as means of a baby, that's not the problem. Surrogate parents, that's not the problem. Right? Gay marriage, that's not the problem. The problem here is a guy who's going through this and egg from sister and then implanted in mama to produce a child for him. I don't need a kid that bad. There has to be another way. It has to be other people and whatever. And as I rose on the post, I said, not for nothing, there's always adoption too. And then the person who was commenting back also, chalked that up to me being insensitive. Like, as a person who's not going through it, isn't it kind of cold-blooded for me to throw out there, oh yeah, well, you can always adopt. But no, I think about these things. No, you can really adopt. And that's not me taking light of their circumstance. In fact, that's me in heavy consideration of the circumstance because, right, adoption might have even been easier, right? Without all these complications and social taboos and all this type of stuff. So people can say what they want, whatever, but I'm just having a difficult time more and more in this place where people how do we respectfully disagree in this day and age? Is it okay to say, hey, I don't agree with this or I don't agree with that, right? Well, I'll give you another one. I don't agree with interracial relationships. Meaning, I wouldn't be in one. People say, Jamal, I seen your daughter. She's Asian. Oh, see? Now, to me, that's not interracial. That's two people of color. So, I'm basically talking about black and white. Not for me. Couldn't be me. But, obviously, plenty of people do it. Well, should they be stoned? No. It happens. But is it okay for someone to say, hey, I don't agree with that? And it ain't about prejudice. It ain't about, oh, there shouldn't be no race mixing and all this type of stuff. I'm not talking about the usual ignorance that people will point to, right? To easily dismiss, how to explain it? When you do that, you're automatically thrusting a child into a situation that they have no control over and did not ask for. So let's step away from all the, ooh, you're going to raise that kid and you're going to make him gay. Let's step away from all that. Just how about the difficulties of being raised by gay? All right, y'all. Janky reception. But, so even in the case of let's not use gay and straight, because a lot of times that tanks the message, and people get so caught up in that. White celebrities who adopt black children from Africa. I don't think that should be allowed either. Now, once again, how do you stop it? I don't know how you stop it or whatever, but oftentimes I think that it's not helpful for the child. I think that the people who are doing it could be engaged in, a variety of motivations that aren't pure, so on and so forth. So all I'm saying is, once again, do we have a right to disagree with stuff now? Or is everything that we say now subject to you're holding some sort of prejudice or bias over them people? Right? I don't know where to go, y'all. It bothers me. These are the things that I be thinking about in my brain, mostly while I drive, which is why I do these lives while I drive sometimes. But this is the type of stuff I think about. What is the proper way to be respectful, but be a member of society and just be able to disagree with stuff? Whatever it is, the subject of the day that the world has now told you have no right to feel any type of way about. And if you speak out at all, or even happen to say, that rubs me the wrong way, or that doesn't always sit well with me, then somehow now you become a target, you're a problem, you're prejudiced, you're this, you're that. What is the proper way for us to disagree, right? All right, y'all. Well, that's that. I'm about to get cracking back to my day and enjoy this beautiful day. God bless. All right, so I hope y'all are having a great day. Be great. Go be great today. Go do something great. Tell somebody you love them. Better yet, show somebody you love them. Show some love to a youth or an elder. And push through the pain to the power, y'all. All right? Peace.